Lads, welcome back to a brand new match reaction. Me and Hal have been doing a watch along live, as you can see on screen. We've just watched Sheffield United technically beat Dundee United 1-0. The match was abandoned at half time. What were your thoughts, Hal?
The weather played a huge part and contributed to quite a poor game for certainly a neutral. I don't think there'd be too many watching. It didn't allow, or certainly wasn't conducive to, on the floor passing and moving. It's always about, in pre-season, seeing formation changes and tactics and how they're actually going to come together. It's not about results, as you know. So because we weren't actually able to play the ball as we'd have liked to, because we like to come out from the back and pass and move, and you saw a number of occasions in this match where 3-yard passes were going half a yard and getting stuck in bogs of water. It genuinely felt like there was a deep end and a shallow end at Tannadice Park, and it nearly put us in trouble on a few occasions because it was all in our own final third, our defensive third, where the majority of the bad weather actually was, and it was kind of sticking, and you felt like we couldn't play it on the deck. We'd have to play long ball, and of course that's not our style.
No. And like you say, that's what we do from the back. We play from the back. We pass the ball from central centre back to right centre back, and it keeps going from side to side. And we tried that today, and it wasn't working. Ramsdale a couple of times tried to play a short pass to John Egan, got stuck in the water, and then it was just trying to keep the ball away from the Dundee United strikers because it was putting us under a lot of pressure. I think we did kind of think about it towards the middle of the first half. Basham played a couple of long balls from the very first whistle. You could tell that when the players were moving, that the water was splashing up, and obviously when it's been raining, you don't see that. It's obviously surface water, and it was a lot worse in our defensive area, as you say. I think if the roles would have been reversed and it would have been at the other side, or if we'd have been kicking the other way, we would have really struggled to score any goals today. And obviously in the second half that would have been the case. Yeah, not a fun game to watch, really, was it?
No, not a great one. You could see when the camera panned out to Tannadice Park just how much the rain was still driving down. It was only going to get worse. The referee asked both managers at half-time, do you want this game abandoned? It seemed quite clear, even only from lip reading, that both managers were happy to end it because it was a bit farcical at times. And you're right, that end, that our defensive end, it was almost impossible for Dundee United to get anything going. They only had one real effort. Rammers, as we like to call Aaron Ramsdale on this channel, didn't have any saves to make, nothing really to do. One thing that concerned me was he had a clearance that went straight out to touch, and you think, well, I haven't seen enough of him to know what he's like on the deck with his feet. I know that Dean Henderson was sometimes accused of not being good enough on the floor with the ball, even though he liked to think he was good with his feet. I would like to know what fans reckon to Ramsdale's ability on the floor. Perhaps Bournemouth fans have more insight on that one.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about him on the floor, and when I did the video about Ramsdale when we'd had a bid accepted, his passing stats were so much better than Henderson's. I'm not sure whether that's because we don't really play out from the back from Henderson. I'd say we'd play out from the back, just not really passing the ball to the goalkeeper a lot, which I'm guessing Bournemouth must have done. Yeah, it would have been nice to have seen Ramsdale hit a few diagonal balls and finding the feet of the wing backs, but yeah, it wasn't that. It wasn't a day to do that, really, was it? With the terrible conditions.
It's such a shame as well, Nick, because I know you're about to run through the team, but on the bench we had a lot of exciting youngsters, players that we just know as names and we've heard of for the last couple of seasons. And I think had the game been in nice sunny conditions, second half, we would have seen players like Sam Graham or Zach Brunt or the young striker Hackford, who there's a lot of excitement about. Maybe Wes Fodringham could have gone in net second half. So it's always a good opportunity to get to see these players because there isn't a lot of games before the season actually starts. So for me, that was the biggest shame with the match being abandoned at half-time.
Yeah, and obviously, who knows who's going to play the next game. Wilder might already have written down his team for this game, then the Preston game, then the Derby game. So this might have been kind of, say, Regan Slater's only chance to shine at right wing back today. So I'll quickly run through the team because it's on screen, but as I alluded to in the live stream, I'm not 100% sure how clear it is on screen. Obviously, Ramsdale was in the goal. Basham, Egan, and Jack Robinson were playing centre back. Regan Slater, surprisingly, was playing right wing back, which obviously we're used to seeing him playing central midfield when he has played. Then Enda Stevens at left wing back. We had Sanderberger and John Fleck in the midfield with Ollie Norwood just behind them. And then, obviously, Billy Sharp up front with Callum Robinson, which I was quite excited to see Callum Robinson before the game because, obviously, he loves playing well in pre-season, Callum Robinson. So, yeah, obviously, it wasn't a great day to be playing on the ground, but we'll go from the back. So, Ramsdale, like you've just said, didn't have a lot to do in the game. I don't think he had a shot. They had a shot on target. Can't even remember a shot, if I'm being completely honest.
Only the one that Egan blocked and took out Jack Robinson as well as a Dundee United player. An incredible sliding block, of course. Only looked better with that. It was like he was on a water slide, just kind of carried on gliding as he was making a really good tackle to stop a long-range effort.
Yeah, I think they both kind of dived at the ball, didn't they? And that's the Sheffield United way, really, isn't it? So
instinctive, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. If it wasn't those two, it would have been Basham or it would have been Slater. It would have been Enda Stevens. So yeah, that's what Chris Wilder drills into him, I'm assuming. I thought at the back, I thought we did well, except for sometimes just not really thinking about the weather conditions because we were playing some short passes not short passes, just passes that would have normally got there but didn't because of the terrible conditions. Jack Robinson, I thought, was great on the ball at times. He did a little sidestep of a couple of players and got brought down, which we obviously had a laugh about because he kind of looked like a young Nyron Nosworthy from back in the day, but slightly
I think
better.
You liked it. You liked the skill. I'm not a big fan of defenders having a moment of flair in their own box where, like he was, had the ref not given a foul on him, he was brought down and then Dundee United would have been clean through. I always think that's a risk not worth taking, especially in the kind of conditions where you could just get it cleared.
Yeah, exactly. It was risky business. It really was, but he did it quite well. So it's nice to see. I thought obviously the defence were solid. Basham and Jack Robinson didn't seem to get forward at all, in my opinion. Especially of how we kind of played all last season against a team that you would like to think that we would beat convincingly.
Well, there was one occasion for both. So Jack Robinson had a shot on the edge of the area that went way over the bar, terrible effort. And Basham came forward on the right, had a channel that was free on the left, but decided to look like 3 players on and go to the right, which was definitely the wrong call. So that's a little bit of freshness that he needs to get back in his legs. And maybe as the pre-season goes on, he'll get back into the groove because actually Basham's very good at taking a player on and beating his man.
Yeah, absolutely. But both those 2 instances, if I remember them rightly, weren't kind of overlapping. They were kind of through the middle, so it was supporting the player rather than going round them, which I'd have liked to have seen them do. But yeah, like we said in the stream, it's really kind of sluggish when you're trying to run through that surface water.
Yeah, sometimes the ball isn't coming with you. But actually, what you're saying is correct. It felt like more went through the middle, and maybe that's the way that we're going to look to attack this season. That could be the one thing we glean from this, because last season far too much came down the wings.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd love to see us attack more through the middle, or not more through the middle, but just kind of mix it up every now and then, because we are very dominantly kind of go down the wings, down the right and the left. But yeah, I thought, talking about the right and the left, Regan Slater, I thought he put a couple of half decent balls into the box. Floaters, as you don't like.
Don't like a floated cross. Let it get it drilled in. You can get a ricochet. It can go absolutely anywhere. We saw Regan Slater against Ipswich in the FA Cup. It feels like 10 years ago now, putting in an incredibly hard challenge, which Wilder loved. He did catch a Dundee United player in a very painful area. So I think it's fair to say that Regan Slater strong in the tackle.
Yeah, definitely. We knew that anyway, didn't we? So yeah, I thought Regan did okay, but he not a lot went down that side, I don't think, at times. I thought Enda Stevens played really well. One moment that stuck in the back of my mind was when we just kind of flew forward. Kind of, we got a block in there, and then we were off. And even though it was really difficult to bring the ball out, Ender Stevens did it so well, and we started that attack really, really quickly. So yeah, he didn't put a foot wrong today. I thought he was quite good.
Yeah, in the centre though, you look at how we were talking about how a lot of it went through the middle. I thought that Sander Berge deserved special mention. He was probably the best player on the pitch. Even early on, the first few minutes, driving down that right-hand central side, not his natural position. That's the John Lundstrom position. We know Sander Berge, if he was given a choice, would want to play where Ollie Norwood is. But Ollie Norwood's form is keeping him in that deep-lying midfield role. So Sander Berge playing slightly on the right, didn't shine there when he initially arrived at United, looked a lot better today. I know it's different opposition, but his driving forward runs were with purpose. He got into the box, he drew a foul from the Dundee United number 5 Stonewall penalty taken by Billy Sharp. The keeper went the wrong way. Unfortunately, Billy hit the left hand upright and missed the penalty, and actually he could have done with a confidence boost after missing 2 very good chances against Southampton in the league, the final game last season, which would have taken his Blades tally up to 100.
Really poor penalty, really, and like we said in the stream, when the goalkeeper dives the other way, it just looks even worse because it just looks like you've got such a massive gaping net to aim at, and obviously he's sent him the wrong way and he's hit the post. It's not really a Billy Sharp penalty either. Billy Sharp loves to smash those balls straight down the middle. Obviously you can't do that every time, so yeah, maybe it would have been nice for him to get off the mark there, but he ended up getting off the mark. Maybe not, maybe a lot easier than the penalty was, but yeah, we'll carry on talking about that because Sander Berge, like you said earlier, he was driving through that middle and he had a really good opportunity where the keeper saved it with his legs, but he had probably 2, 3, maybe even 4 shots today, and the goal that Billy Sharp scored was from a Sander Berge effort that the keeper parried. Might have been able to do a little bit better with it, but at the same time, it was a good effort, a good shot, and then obviously Billy Sharp's always going to be there to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, Billy, it's all about his positioning. He's made a career out of that. It's not a coincidence. He's often in that correct position for a number 10 who gets forward. What I liked about Sander Berge there was before he'd carried on running into the box and he caught them by surprise. Dundee United weren't expecting the early shot from outside the area. As you say, keeper could have done better. He parried it in the one place you don't want to parry it, right at the feet of a Billy Sharp striker who's 4 yards out, and he's not going to miss, even in a little bit of poor form, which I think he'd admit he's been in recently. And Billy, what I like about his positioning is he's always made a career out of that, to get in that absolutely key position. What we didn't see was from his strike partner, Callum Robinson. And I know we'll continue to talk about the midfield, but just while we're talking about Billy, what we saw from Callum Robinson today was a striker who kept drifting out, either dropping too deep or going out onto the left-hand side. And that was a concern for me because it often left Billy up there on his own. And there were times when the ball was crossed into the middle where a number 9 should have been, and Callum was not there.
Yep, I think we've said quite a few times that he's possibly not a striker. Lots of fans have said that in the past. When he's been used at Preston and at other places, they try to kind of deploy him more on the wing. He's obviously played some games up front, but the problem is we don't play with wingers. So Callum Robinson will either play up front or nowhere.
Yeah, or on loan somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Still might not end up finishing all these games. You never know, because there's obviously been talk in the papers and online on the papers. I sound really old now. Online that we're going to be maybe swapping him for Ollie Burke.
Another winger. So that would be, again, I'd have to question why we would swap him for a right winger. One with tremendous promise, don't get me wrong, but I'd be surprised at that one. We'll as you say, we'll wait and see. What did you make of Ollie Norwood? I thought his distribution from corners, same with John Fleck, was excellent today. We just had no one actually in there winning them.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, when you've not got Jack O'Connell playing, he is the one that a lot of defenders try and kind of go with, because he is such a big presence. Obviously tall, really kind of a huge frame. When you've got kind of, I don't know, we still had quite a few big lads in there. I know that Sander Berge isn't the most dominant in the air for how big he is, how tall he is. But no, like you say, Fleck put some good balls in, Norwood put some good balls in. I don't remember Norwood having the ball too much in the midfield. But yeah, it probably wasn't a day for that passing football that we're used to seeing.
No, Fleck, though, was excellent and driving forward and always looking confident. He was probably the joint best player on the pitch and probably the only one of that United starting 11 that's ever actually played at Tannadice Park before.
Yes, very good knowledge there. Yeah, like you say, John Fleck was brilliant today. He did what he always does. He always picks the ball up, he drives. But it was nice to see Sander Berge doing the same thing, so that we've got someone doing it from either side, because I don't think Lundstrom is that type of player to pick the ball up and kind of make a dynamic run straight through the middle.
Yeah, but Lundstrom, a bit like Billy, his positioning is fantastic, hence how he's able to get amongst the goals last season. I think one thing I would finish on, Nick, is the term stream was definitely appropriate for today's game.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a terrible pitch. Well, it wasn't a terrible pitch. It was, the conditions were just horrendous, and I've not seen a pitch that bad for a very long time. So obviously it had to be abandoned, didn't it? So
yeah, it had to be.
It's nice to get the win, even though it is kind of, you don't want to finish a match at 1-0 at half time.
I absolutely agree with that. Let's focus on the positives.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll leave it there then. We've talked through all the first team. Obviously, nobody came off the bench. Like we said earlier, it would have been nice to see some of the youngsters, but hopefully we'll see them in the next couple of games.
Hopefully.
So thank you very much for watching. Yeah, we quite enjoyed the stream today, even though it was cut short. If you enjoyed this video, though, please smash a like on it. If you're new around here, please subscribe. And stay in good nick.
Look at that ping from Norwood. Makes other teams look no good. We've got a team full of leaders. Alan Hill, Chris Wilder taught us. Yeah, there was us on the tour bus. Look how many goals Billy scored us. It's beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. We are the boys from Shore.